Welcome to episode 1 of Create Like a Human. This is where I'm going to talk about how you can bring more of yourself into your content so that people can resonate with you and be attracted to you. So let's get started. Hi, if you don't know who I am, my name is Isabel and I am a content manager and strategist who helps established founders and online creatives repurpose their content in a way that doesn't sound robotic. Despite what most marketers say, selling is really about energy. I know it sounds very woo, and I'm not a woo person. So I've been running my business full time now for about 2 years. And while my first year of business was really about survival, in my second year, I decided I needed to take it up a notch. That was when I joined the Rest and Receive retreat earlier at the start of this year. I decided I needed to get out of my comfort zone. I needed to be in the spaces where people are and where I can learn from people who are in a later stage of business than I am. This retreat was deep in the heart of Kangaroo Valley in New South Wales. And I set out with an intention that these 5 days were going to be days where I did little to no work at all, which is a bit extreme for someone who loves working like me. And on this retreat, we did something that really changed my whole perspective of business. How I want to create a business that truly reflects the life that I want to live. This is a letter from my 2026 self. And in that letter, I wrote that I would be working with the most wonderful VA that helps me with the graphic design work for my clients. I also decided to go a bit delulu and said that I would show up at the next retreat in a private jet. We will all show up at the next retreat in my private jet. Then I realized I needed to get a pilot to fly that. So I was like, yes, I need a pilot as well to fly my private jet. And lo and behold, I actually met someone who has a pilot license and they have a private jet. So even the most ridiculous thing manifested. And that was what started getting me really curious about energy and how it can affect the way we see our lives, how it can affect the way we see our business. Because I've lived it firsthand myself now. It wasn't because I had another new strategy in place or I had, all the Canva templates they have, because having these as tools is helpful. But when your energy isn't in the right place, that's when you have that wobbly feeling that something's missing and you start chasing shiny objects. When I put these intentions down on my letter from my future self, it just led to an energy shift within me. And I started showing up differently. I started going to the places where I had been afraid to show up before. I started putting myself forward in my content. I started sharing vulnerable stories, more of myself, more of what I value, sharing my raw, real voice. And that pulled in people this year. Not because I was doing more, but because I was in the right frequency that finally felt like me. And content doesn't feel like a chore when you're in the right kind of energy creating from that. So while your strategy matters, while having a marketing plan matters, a content calendar might help you. If you're not in the right frame of mind, then you always feel like something's missing. And people can feel that energetic shift. Your content might look great, but something's missing. Something's not quite right. Something's off. And that's why in the co-creation content sprint, we are leading with something I know that will change the whole level of your campaign. We don't start with content formats. We don't start with hooks. These are things that you already know how to do. You've already bought courses to, you've already tried doing that. We start with the vibe that will resonate with your audience and resonates deep within your own soul. Because when you lead your next campaign with that energy, it is going to attract the right kind of people and it's going to make others remember you. So if right now you're planning your upcoming campaign and knowing that you have to create all this content is starting to feel a little bit overwhelming, you're invited to the 90-minute content co-creation sprint. It's where I'll work together with you to map out your next launch vibes, your core messaging angles, as well as the content formats that will work for those messages. You might even walk away with your first piece of content Great. So if you are ready to stop doing it alone and to work with a strategic partner that is an expert at content, an expert at making people move, RSVP to the Content Co-Creation Sprint. Link is in the description below.